Welcome back to this third part of this mini series of 3 undeniable truths when it comes to raising capital. So in the first video, or the first part of this series, we really talked about and leaned into how everything you do is either building trust or breaking it. And the second part was more in depth, talking about how your brain's not a CRM. And we even pulled the curtain back and showed some of the things that we incorporate into our CRM and what we do to help our users implement that as well. So in this video, we're going to be diving into this idea that money follows where value leads. Now, where this idea really stems from is this concept between raising capital and attracting capital. And I don't know if you've thought about this before or you've considered what the difference between those two, but take a minute, think about that. When you consider raising capital, what type of actions or thoughts come to mind? It might be cold calling. It might be spamming people, right? There's, which you shouldn't do, by the way, but there's oftentimes a lot of negative ideas and feelings around this idea of raising capital. People feel like they have to pitch. You don't need a pitch. And if you're doing your job properly and moving people through the trust timeline, you definitely don't need to do that. So when it comes to raising capital, it's very much external efforts, right? It's outward actions. But when you hear the term attracting capital, how does that hit differently? What thoughts come to your mind when you hear the word attract? I like to think of a magnet, right? If you're attracting, that means capital is coming to you and flowing to you. Now, it doesn't mean that it completely replaces the need for you to have to go out and make those phone calls and put in work and action. You'll find yourself in a position where people are coming to you wanting to invest in your deals. And that's the difference between raising capital and attracting capital. So again, that's really what's influencing this third part that I wanted to talk about, which is money follows where value leads. And again, if you haven't watched the part 2 video or the part 1, go back, check those out. It all flows into this. So over the next few minutes, this is going to be a shorter one of the series. We're going to talk about how money follows where value leads and share with you some things that we've done to help connect with investors and key partners that have helped us move our business along. All right. So the first thing I want to share with you is this term of an ask hole. An ask hole. So for those of you that don't know what an ask hole is a person who only shows up in your inbox, DMs, or life when they need something, a favor, an intro, your time, your energy, your Netflix login, and then they vanish like a magician mid-ghosting act. I would like to think that this is how none of us want to be perceived, but this is sometimes how we may have come across, or we've been on the other end of this where we have that asshole come to us when we haven't talked to them in months or years. And then they're like, hey, I got this killer deal you need to invest in. It's like, well, hey, Dallin, great to hear from you. How's the family? How are the kids, right? So again, it sounds super silly, but I see this over and over again. You do not want to be perceived as an asshole. And for those of you that want me to put this into a little bit more context here, okay? So this is an example I put together for you. I hadn't heard from Mike in 6 months, but the moment he needed investors for his new deal, guess who popped up? Classic asshole move. This isn't who you are. This isn't who we want to be. But what we've found is that this is often what people resort to or default to, because we see it time and time again. They have literally told us this. Oh yeah, I'll start raising capital once I have a deal under contract. No, you need to start raising capital months before you have that deal under contract. Months before you have that deal under contract. And so what happens is people get that deal under contract and then they have 60 to 90 days to close the deal. And they're like, oh shit, I got to raise a ton of money. So now they just go to their phone and they go to their email list and they come across as an asshole. We've all probably seen it or experienced it ourselves, whether we were the one being the asshole or the one that was approached by that person. This isn't how we want to be. This isn't how you should want to raise capital, and it's not the right way to do it because you're not leading with value. Now imagine if somebody was staying top of mind, they were providing value, education, inviting you to different things, showing you on social media the deals that they're underwriting and how they vet these deals and the due diligence and different things that they're going through. That's stuff that builds trust and it leads with value, okay? So some of my favorite ways to provide value to people: make a personal introduction, and you can invite them to a dinner, a workshop, meetup, or unique gifts. Now, my favorite is unique gifts. If you haven't read the book Giftology, I can't remember the author off the top of my mind, The book is called Giftology. It might change your idea or perspective around gifts. Now, I'm not talking about a Capitallyst Pro branded mug because somebody signed up as a user, right? Like, that's swag. And when it comes to raising capital, they're more focused on their capital than they are your brand, right? And oftentimes they're trying to build their own brand and their own business. So swag, don't do it. Get unique gifts. And I'm going to show you a couple of examples here. Okay. So this top left photo, you'll see a piece of paper with a bunch of ducks around it. There was somebody that I connected with. We were in the same mastermind, and they were in San Antonio, and we went out there for an event, and I called her up and I said, hey, we're going to be in town. Would love to connect, get to know each other more. Absolutely. She took us around San Antonio, took us to the Alamo, which, by the way, I thought was in the middle of the desert. No, the Alamo was like smack dab in the middle of San Antonio. And it blew my mind. This was just a few years ago that I realized this. So anyway, she took us around San Antonio, and we ate up at this restaurant that rotated in a circle, and you could look out across the city. It was a lot of fun. And again, another thing I didn't realize, she picked us up in her Jeep, and in the back seat, she had this bag full of these little rubber ducks. I was like, what is this? She's like, oh yeah, it's a Jeep thing. You duck Jeeps. I don't know what it is. I don't have a Jeep. I think it's kind of weird, but right, to each their own. So anyways, we had this good time. We went home. A couple weeks later, we're at this arcade with my kids, and there's this game, Claw Machine, where you played until you won. And it was like a guaranteed prize. And there was all these credits that were built up on it, just from somebody that previously probably didn't realize that. So my daughter goes in and she's just winning rubber duck after rubber duck after rubber duck that's in this machine. And I'm like, what the heck are we going to do with all these rubber ducks? And I was like, oh, you know what? Let me send them to this person. So I just packaged them up, and then I wrote this little handwritten note. And by the way, this was a picture she sent me after she got it. But this note, I mean, if you zoom in or pause, you might be able to read it. I'm going off memory here, but it was something along the lines of like, hey, thanks so much for taking us around San Antonio. I don't quite understand your whole fetish with ducks, but thought you might enjoy these, right? That's it. That's all it was. And this made such a big impact, and it furthered our relationship along. It's different. It's goofy. It's fun. It was personalized. Okay. Second photo on the right. These are two gentlemen that had really impacted my life as I started my journey in real estate. So this is Robert Helms and Russell Gray. These guys are the hosts. We're the hosts of the Real Estate Guys radio podcast. And that was the first real estate podcast I started listening to that got me really into real estate and got me jump started. So as a way to say thank you, we ordered these custom bobbleheads. We took some photos and put together these bobbleheads of them. And it was just, there's a handwritten note saying, hey, thanks so much for having an impact on my life, and so on and so forth, right? It's different. It's unique. Sure, that bobblehead cost me a couple $100, but guess what? We're now doing deals and working and partnering with Russell Gray on some stuff. So it's fascinating what unique gifts, when given at the right time and properly, can really do for you. Now, this picture in the bottom left, when we were actively raising capital for our fund, one of our core values was that we invest in our investors. And that can mean different things, right? That can be in the due diligence, the operations, the education. There's so many different things that can fall within that category. But as a way to say thank you, rather than sending them our company branded swag, we sent them, this is a 5-ounce pure silver bar with the name of the property and the deal that they invested in. This is what we provided to them as a thank you gift, because silver, as we all know, is an investment. And so that symbolized the way that we invest in our investors. And it's a pretty freaking cool gift. So when somebody gets this, they might post about it. They might tell their friends or family. They might set it up on their desk somewhere. So then people are going to come in and be like, hey, what is this? Oh, let me tell you about these guys that I work with, right? So not only does it build the trust with people when you give them unique gifts, but it gets them talking about you as well. And that helps with more exposure. So that really concludes this video and this mini series really all together. And really hope you guys walked away with some value, with some nuggets here. Again, the 3 undeniable truths that I really wanted to convey is: number 1, everything you do is either building trust or breaking it. Number 2, your brain is not a CRM. And number 3, money follows where value leads. If you guys lead with value, if you have a good system tracking those leads, and you just know that everything you do is building trust, you're going to show up different. And now you're going to be transitioning from this ability to raise capital to this ability to attracting capital. So hope you enjoyed this mini series. We're going to be putting out more content. Keep following us. Share this with somebody that you think it would make an impact for, and we'll catch you on the next show.